There is the bell, and that means soccer is in session. What is up, everybody? My name is Madison Crews, and welcome back to another episode. So we have a pretty jam-packed episode for you guys today. So for starters, we're going to get to hear from Coach Messer, who's the assistant coach for McIntosh High School, after their win against Clarkston on Tuesday. And then you will get to hear from Alexander High School boys head coach Jose Cuellar, as well as Chapel Hill's head coach for boys soccer, James Leach, before they face off against each other tomorrow for SDH's Game of the Week. Now, before we get into all of that, a quick word from our sponsor at Kaiser Permanente. Soccer is in Session is presented by Kaiser Permanente. Live well and thrive. Let Kaiser Permanente take care of the rest. Now, as many of you know, me, Jason, and John were at McIntosh on Tuesday for SDH's Tuesday night throwdown game where they played against Clarkston at home for their first game of the regular season. And it was a crazy game, a game that was supposed to start at 6, didn't end up getting started until 7:30 p.m. due to some transportation issues. And then we also had an injury to Marin Mateo for Clarkston, and so big thoughts and prayers and sending all love for a great recovery for him. We will keep you updated on his recovery here on Soccer is in Session as we continue to know more. But McIntosh got their first win of the regular season, getting a 2-0 win over Clarkston. Now, I had the chance after that matchup to get to talk to Coach Messer, who's the assistant coach on the team, and Bunky Colvin was unfortunately not there due to being ejected in the last game they played in the playoffs, so he had to sit this game out. But I got to talk to Coach Messer a bit about the team and how well they played in this match. So, Coach, crazy game. What did you see tonight from your side, and how did this crazy game impact you guys going forward?
It's a great one to have the first game. We played Walton in the scrimmage, very good team, but this game was more physicality, it was speed, it was trying to match them athletically. And we're going to see teams like Dalton down the road, and this is a great one to test our kids. We graduated 17 seniors last year. We've got a whole new team. This is like welcome to high school soccer. And these guys, they got accustomed to it tonight. They had fun. They came out with a win. They worked hard, so I can't be more pleased. But we got a lot of work to do.
I mean, and you also mentioned 17 players leaving and having a completely new roster. What did you see from some of the new guys on your team today in this match?
Some guys stepped up. Guys that we've been moving around trying to figure out what position to put them in and where they fit in our system. And some people stepped up. I was pleased with our back line. We're going against a really athletic team, their speed, and really our goalkeepers. We got 3 new goalkeepers this year, and he stepped up too, played a great game.
Now, what does this match say about your team going forward to the rest of the season? What does this message show to other teams throughout all of Georgia what McIntosh can do?
We got guts. I mean, this was a fight. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't the soccer that I've ever seen, but it was. We can fight, and we're going to find a way to win. Champions find a way. That's our motto. We're going to try to find a way to win.
So thank you.
So, thank you.
Now, moving right along into our very, very busy episode, I had the opportunity to talk to Alexander High School's boys head coach, Jose Cuellar, ahead of Friday's matchup against Chapel Hill. We also talked a lot about the veteran leadership that he has this season because of how many starters he has returning to his squad. But without further ado, here is my interview with head coach Jose Cuellar. For people who might not know about your program, what type of style of play does Alexander have on the field, and what can we expect from this group?
I have to think about that one a little bit, but basically, see, you stumped me already. But in terms of style of play, that style that I prefer is a little bit a mix of direct play and positional play. Okay, not playing direct all the time and not playing just positional all the time, but a mix. I believe that we want to advance the ball as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. Move the ball up. but however, that's not always the case. And at our level, there's a lot of change in possession constantly, and it is difficult to maintain that level of play. So a lot of times you see us playing a lot of the long ball, and depending on who we're playing, it may be a constant change of possessions, 2 3 passes, and then the ball belongs to somebody else, and it's back and forth constantly. Um, when we play teams that are at a lower level than we are, you will see us possess the ball a lot better, and then my style of play comes into, you can see a lot better. But when we advance at the state level, we usually have to play teams that are better than we are, and to do well at the state level, which we have done a few times. Okay, we have to beat teams that are better than we are. Getting out of our side is very difficult. We're matched up with the two regions where most of the state champs come from. Okay, so getting out of the second round is really difficult, but it's possible. We have done it before, and the way we do that is by playing more of a defensive style of play where we defend in our half and counter attack. So we kind of vary depending on who we're playing. But again, my preferred style of play would be a mixture of positional play and direct play. I hope that makes sense.
Absolutely. It did make sense. It made a lot of sense. And I was looking at your roster too. You have a lot of veteran players who are returning for this season, who have been on varsity before and know that type of style of play. How pivotal is that going to be for the rest of the season going forward, to have that leadership and players who know the style that you want and going forward and trying to get that state championship?
I think it's going to be very critical. We're definitely relying on them. We're relying on the seniors and the juniors. Most of my starters are juniors and sophomores. I only have 2 senior starters, so that means that we get, the core of the team back next year. But moving forward, right now we're really trying to find ourselves. We lost 2 seniors last year who scored, most of the goals the team scored, and we're having a hard time finding who is going to take their place. We did score 5 goals on our first game, which was just a scrimmage, which it doesn't count towards the records. But then we lost another game 5-0 because we were trying to use a different formation just to see. Me experimenting and trying to use two strikers as opposed to just one striker with 2 wings, trying to put some pressure on the other team. Unfortunately, backfired on us because we were going with a 3-5-2 with the 3 backs, and our kids were not used to that, and we allowed 5 goals. But last 2 games we played, it's been a 0-0 tie. Definitely dominated both games, outshot the other team. Especially in midfield, we kept the ball most of the time, but we're having a hard time finding goals right now. So hopefully that we can do better on Friday. One of my top players has been out the last 2 games. He got injured on that first game of the season, and we're hoping that he can come back and on Friday. That will be Nick Waits.
Absolutely. And I mean, going and looking ahead into that game against Chapel Hill on Friday, what has the message been to your squad leading up to this match? And just what have you been saying to them to get them ready for this matchup?
Well, basically, we have to be on the same page. The kids, have been playing this game since they're 4 years old. At least most of the starters are. They have their level of, their technical ability, tactical awareness, and all of that. They have achieved that, or they have learned that throughout the years that they have been playing soccer. So basically what I'm trying to do is make sure that we're all on the same page. This is how we want to play, and this is what we want to do under different circumstances and situations, and which we haven't been there. yet. So again, we usually use February as a discovery month because region play does not start until March, the end of February, March. So I'm experimenting a lot, moving players around. At the high school level, most of the time you have, at least in our program, because we have a small program, players that have been playing defense all their life, man, that playing a different position, or players that have been playing midfield all their life and that playing center back. And we have to constantly do that because, again, the players that we get come from different places, different backgrounds, different teams. So it's not like they've been playing together all their lives. So again, we're just trying to get together and all be on the same page.
And that kind of feeds into my next question. I was going to ask a bit about the team chemistry going into this. In high school, it's a weird time because you're having players who played in club and then other players who might have just walked onto the team and tried out. How do you deal with that team chemistry and getting those players to come together on the field, but also off the field?
Okay, on the field, definitely, we try to do a lot of patterns of play. Uh, other people know it like shallow play, more or less. So we know exactly, so they know exactly what it is that we're looking for. They're not really plays, but they're more like patterns that kids can recognize during the game. And hopefully, that makes a difference. And then we definitely practice our corner kicks, our free kicks, our goal kicks. And so everybody knowing what the roles are, who's going to be doing the throw-ins and if we need to wait for a special person to come and take the throw in, or if we need to go quick with it, all of that to me is being on the same page. Are we going to defend, with using a zone system, or are we going to defend more man-to-man style? Knowing when to pressure and when to, and when to retreat and pressure and follow your man and all that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of little things that they're all over the place. The players are not at the same place. So we're all trying to, bring that together. And we usually use the month of February to do that. Then off the field, we do team bonding activities. Um, we this year didn't work out too well, but during the conditioning months, which for us started in November, we usually bring Sergeant Arnold, which that's the ROTC, and his team has won state a couple of times, and he usually comes and does a session for us, and the kids get to do military style stuff, different things. We get together for watch a movie. A lot of times, we like to watch that movie Miracle, where the hockey movie, which hockey has a lot of what you call it, similarities with soccer, by the way. So we'll get here in my room and we'll have pizza, and sometimes the parents come up with some kind of get together for the kids. In the past, we have gone to play ultimate frisbee at a park here in Douglasville, and they get together and do that. So we try to again make sure that they like each other and they try to do things together. Uh, so by again, the season just started, so we haven't done much of that yet, but it's getting there.
Absolutely. That sounds fun. I mean, I want to be invited to a Miracle watch and a pizza party with all of y'all. That sounds like a great time. My last question for you, Coach, is what is something that you want fans and everyone to know about Alexander High School boys soccer?
Hmm, that's a tough question. Um, hmm, what should they know about us? Well, definitely the parents. I want them to know that we are there working hard, and as the coaches, our number one priority are the players. And sometimes it may not, what they see on the field may not reflect that, but to us, it's not just the game, but there's a lot more that goes into it. It takes me a whole year to plan for this. I do things year round, for example. Um, and not everything is about soccer. There are a lot of life lessons that take place in the huddle. Right here in my room, they come a lot, and we use the same screen I'm looking at right now to to watch video or watch movies or watch little things that I find online that I think that will help them out, whether it is on the field or off the field. Um, I want them to know that we try to take care of our players here in our school. Try to follow them around, see how they're doing with the grades. That all the teachers know who the coaches are. If there's any issues or problems, they get to us. So it's not just about playing the game, but there's a lot. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to it.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much again, Coach, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
Again, a huge thank you to Coach Cuellar for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it. It was really interesting getting to hear him talk about his program and their development throughout the past couple of seasons. And now I also had the chance to catch up with Chapel Hill's head coach, James Leach. We talked about how the program has developed throughout the seasons that he has been there and how he had to switch his mindset of coaching from a football standpoint to soccer. And we also talked about the matchup on Friday against Alexander, or as he told me that it is called, the DC Derby. So, Coach Leach, first of all, what would you say is your coaching philosophy?
I kind of come from a football background, actually. I'm not a soccer coach really by trade. One of the things I learned though from coaching football is to always try to find your best 11 players and get them on the field. And so I've kind of applied that to the way that we coach soccer. I'm pretty tough on the boys, but I think I have done a good job building relationships with them. So yeah, it kind of sums up my philosophy is to just find those best 11 and get them on the field. I traditionally, I don't have a ton of depth. So, it's usually 11 or 12 guys that are going to be playing and getting the majority of the playing time. But yeah, finding those best 11 players.
What have been the challenges with switching over and having from that football mindset to having soccer as that mindset going forward?
Well, I had to learn the game. I mean, honestly, I do not have a soccer background. I played 2 years when I was a kid, back in the 80s, and soccer was not really a thing back then. So, I had to take my lumps. My first year as the head coach here is my 8th year. My first year as a head coach here, I went 14-1, I think. So, but I had to really study. I had to really learn the game. There is a little bit of crossover. Athletes are athletes at the end of the day. But, I did have to kind of take my lumps my first couple of years. I committed myself, though, to playing young kids those first few years, and that began to kind of pay off for me a little bit later as those players, that were taking those lumps as freshmen and sophomores became juniors and seniors. And so, I'm proud of how we've turned the program around since I first took over.
Absolutely. And you've already mentioned you have 7 returning starters back for you guys this season. How important are they going to be going forward for the rest of the season?
Oh, huge. These 7 guys, I mean, they are our core. 4 of those guys are seniors, I think, off the top of my head. Kenny Pamini and Habib Singhor, Peter Martinez. They are huge, and just that they have experience. Starting, some of these guys are 4-year starters for me, because like I said, I have a philosophy that if you're a 9th grader and you're good enough to see the field, I will play you on varsity. I have no fear of doing that. So, and these guys with that experience, I've got 2 freshmen that are starting now, and those guys are able to help me with kind of coaching those kids and just showing leadership and getting them prepared because it's hard for those young kids. A lot of them, I guess, have, they've up into their high school career, they've always played, on their age level. And so they've gotten used to playing against kids that, that they can kind of beat up, if you will. And then all of a sudden you're a 15-year-old and there's a 17 or 18-year-old senior that you're having to match up with. And so it can be a little bit eye-opening for the young kids. But having those 7 returners, that's huge. It definitely helps with leadership and just experience.
With those 2 freshman starters, how have you seen them kind of grow and develop during these past couple of games, and how have they been fitting in to that style and what you're doing?
Greatly. Both Lucas Carino, he's going to be a great player. I mean, I don't want to hype him. I hope he's not watching this, but he's don't get a big head, Lucas. He plays right winger for us. He's left-footed. He has. I've kind of seen the light bulb go off in his head the last couple of games, and so definitely a lot of growth there. Danny Maravilla is the other. He is a center mid for us. Danny, I'm seeing that same light bulb. Last night I pulled him aside after the game we played against Douglas County. I was like, hey, man, you're starting to play those through balls for us, man. You're releasing the ball quicker. You're doing what we're asking you to do. And so just starting to see those light bulbs go off. They're kind of small physically, so I keep on getting on them that, hey, y'all got to get in weight training, and all that. But yeah, this and it really is satisfying to see that these young players kind of come along and develop.
Absolutely. And I want to talk about your current record right now. You have a 4-2 record starting this season. What have been some of the lessons that you have learned throughout those first couple of games?
Well, this year we have kind of switched our philosophy a little bit offensively. We were really, really, really trying to play possession soccer and just move the ball around, swing the ball around, not be in a huge hurry, and just try to move the other team around and exploit those openings. Kind of in years past, my philosophy was just, hey, score early, score often. We are pressing, we are trying to run the field. It's almost like a basketball team running the court. That was sort of my philosophy. But I have a new assistant coach, Adam Vancouver, and he's very, very possession oriented. And so, we're playing back to the keeper, we're playing out of the back, and like I said, we're just trying to be patient. And we're not always trying to drive the ball forward now. We're trying to play more possession oriented soccer.
Absolutely. And just a couple more questions for you, Coach, and then we'll wrap it up. But you have Alexander this Friday. What has been the message leading up to that game after coming off and playing a couple games yesterday?
Well, listen, Alexander is probably our biggest rival. So, I mean, our guys are not going to, they're already up for this game. I mean, this is one we always circle on our calendar. It's really important to us because we have a tournament that we play within ourselves in the county. And so all 5 high schools play each other. And Coach Cuellar actually at Alexander came up with it, and he keeps the table. And so, I think the winner of this game is gonna host the trophy, which I have back here behind me from last year. And Coach Cuellar won it with Alexander the year before. So I really feel like this is sort of that key matchup game, and then what we call the Douglas County Derby. And our guys are excited. Alexander is always been kind of the powerhouse team here in Douglas County. And so we won the county last year for the first time, but we're both kind of vying for that number 1 spot. Coach Cuellar has been there forever. He does a great job. And so, we're just very excited to be in the position we're in and to be able to play this huge rivalry game.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to be there. We're all excited to go and get to call the game for both of y'all. It's going to be a lot of fun. But my last question for you, Coach, is what is something that you want fans or anyone that's listening to know about Chapel Hill High School?
Just that we have a great group of kids, and we don't really this is actually the first time anyone is ever asked to interview. Even my local newspaper has never asked to do a story on us, and it's a little bit of a chip on our shoulder because we are vying for the, hopefully this year will be our 4th year in a row going to the GHSA playoffs, but we're doing things and we're getting them done quietly, but don't overlook us. We may not be all over the newspapers like other teams, but we're working hard to hammer out our goals, to win that Douglas County trophy, to win the region trophy, to make a run in the state playoffs, to get there again, the 4th year in a row and actually make a run. So don't count us out.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate the time, Coach Leach. I really appreciate it. I know it's a crazy schedule and everything, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Again, a big thank you to head coach James Leach for taking the time to talk to me, as well again as head coach Jose Cuellar for taking time out of your very busy schedules to take the time to talk to me. And one thing is for sure, I am really looking forward to this matchup on Friday. And for those of you who don't know, and for a little bit of a reminder, Soccer Down Here will be there on Friday for the game at 7:30 p.m. It will be on Mixler, so make sure you guys look at that. It'll be linked to all of our social medias. Jason will be play-by-play. I will be on color. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you guys tune into that. And now, before I close it out, a quick word from our sponsor at Kaiser Permanente. Soccer is in Session is presented by Kaiser Permanente. Live well and thrive. Let Kaiser Permanente take care of the rest. All right, everyone, so that's all I have for this episode of Soccer is in Session, but thank you so much for checking us out this week, and make sure you guys come back next week for another round of episodes, and be sure you subscribe to Soccer Down Here wherever you get your podcasts, and you can catch it there. You can also listen for free on the Soccer Down Here app, and you can download that in your app store, and you can also check it out on soccerdownhere.net, and make sure you guys have notifications set up, and make sure you tune in on Friday for when Chapel Hill faces off against Alexander for SDH's Game of the Week.